Across Canada, construction, renovation, and demolition waste is a huge issue. About 1/3 of municipal waste streams come from this work. The National Zero Waste Council is tackling this matter with a working group developing a circular economy approach to the problem. In Metro Vancouver, the issue is acute. 3,000 buildings a year are torn down. In fact, the construction and demolition industries produce around 1.5 million tons of waste each year.
Right now, we're recycling about 63% of all the waste we produce in this region, and that's really good. It's some of the best in North America. But our long-term goal is to divert 80% of all the waste we produce. In order to get there, we really have to focus on construction and demolition waste because it's about 1/3 of all the waste we produce.
An increasing number of municipalities, such as Surrey and Richmond, are introducing or expanding demolition recycling requirements. In the city of Vancouver, houses from certain eras are subject to green demolition regulations.
Green demolition is essentially a demolition of a home in which the materials from the home are primarily recycled or reused. So we define it here as 75% of the materials have to be recycled or reused. We are also expanding the bylaw, the green demolition requirement, from pre-1940 homes to pre-1950 homes, which shifts the bylaw from about 1/3 of the demolitions to about 2/3 of the demolitions, so it's a big jump for us. We have a requirement now that requires for pre-1910 homes and heritage-listed homes that they be deconstructed. So that's essentially taking apart the home in the reverse order that it was built with the intent of salvaging as much material as possible. And we've specified at least 3 tons of wood have to be salvaged for reuse from that home.
Deconstruction is more time and labor-intensive than green demolition. But deconstruction focuses on salvaging wood for reuse, not recycling. It's an increasingly popular choice for 3 reasons.
The first one, the most obvious, is the environmental reasons. So much better for the environment to salvage and upcycle and reuse materials versus demolish and either dispose of or recycle them. And the second is the social good. So when we deconstruct a home, we donate all the materials to Habitat for Humanity on behalf of the homeowner. The third benefit of deconstruction is when we donate it, the homeowner gets a tax receipt for that donation, and that tax receipt drives our price much lower than demolition in the long run.
Habitat for Humanity, an international charity with 5 storefronts in Metro Vancouver area, picks up the salvaged materials from all of the homes deconstructed by unbuilders. The materials are then sold for reuse, which keeps them out of the recycling and waste streams.
Since we've built this partnership with unbuilders, it gives us more dimensional lumber. There's a huge demand for it, whether it's the highest quality, reclaimed old growth Douglas fir like we have here, or if it's coming from a 1970s home and it's just 2x4s, because the end use varies so much. The old growth reclaimed Douglas fir might be antiques dealers, a lot of designers, people doing features for new homes.
Not all wood salvage is suitable for resale and is used for fuel instead. For example, an increasing amount of CRD waste is being used to lower the carbon footprint at the Lafarge cement plant in Richmond.
So we just built a new low carbon fuel system that will be used to replace our traditional fossil fuels. This system will allow us to divert from landfill various materials like wood and construction demolition waste, and we'll divert up to 100,000 tons of those materials a year. So traditionally, our energy source to operate our kiln was either natural gas or coal, and this new project will allow us to replace upwards of 50% of those traditional fuels.
Construction and demolition contractors can also bring building materials to Eco Waste landfill in Richmond. Eco Waste then turns about 20% of the materials into products such as compost, bark mulch, and crushed concrete for sale, and is looking at increasing that number. And it's also considering ways to assist the growing deconstruction industry.
One of the challenges in the region is space to store those materials as they're deconstructed. And so we've actually had some conversations with a couple of folks that are in the deconstruction business to see whether or not there's some way we can work with them to help facilitate that storage of products, because storage space in Vancouver, as you can imagine, is really expensive and hard to find.
Earlier this year, our council approved $250,000 to go towards supporting a deconstruction hub. That's meant to provide that physical place where the materials can go to and materials can be accessed. So hopefully that deals with that barrier.
Those in the deconstruction industry can see additional ways of increasing their business.
What I would love to see, and something that we'll definitely be pushing for, is more municipalities adopting the bylaws similar to Vancouver. And I also am going to be really trying to push for some sort of federal salvage credit, because I think that you need to incentivize the industry and the homeowners to shift in this way.
The deconstruction industry in Metro Vancouver is still tiny compared to demolition. But every deconstructed house diverts 50 tons of waste from landfill. And of course, there are other reasons for choosing to reuse building materials.
Salvaging is upcycling, so it's taking a product and putting it back in the supply chain and either adding value to it or recirculating it. There's a lot of value in these old houses, and it's a shame that most of them are chipped up and burnt for energy, amongst other things.
There are 3 key ways to decrease demolition waste and increase the rates of reducing and reusing construction materials.
The first is by building green, and the second is bylaws to require deconstruction and salvage. And the third is to make use of the many companies that deconstruct and salvage building materials for reuse.
The National Zero Waste Council is working with industry and local government to change current practices and shift to a circular approach to address this pressing issue.